Yeah, I don't always want the whole screen. I don't like, I usually try to focus in one area. I mean, sometimes it ends up being almost the whole screen. I closed the friggin'. Okay, so the homework assignment, I'll post it. It's not actually out there yet, but I just want to go over the general information about it and go over one particular thing that you definitely will need to do for things like installing. Okay, so first of all, I have placed a server in your machine in your CIS 232 folder. That machine should be the machine that you're going to, basically what you're going to be doing in this review assignment is configuring NFS, configuring NIS, configuring sudo, configuring quotas, at least that. There might be one other thing, but anything that I've configured and that I've reviewed, you can expect to see in the review assignment. Okay? So you configure the client. Okay? The one thing that I want to stress is that the client needs to be installed with 2 petitions, not 3. Okay, and because remember, the reason that there's a 3rd petition when you do a default install is for the home folders. But your client is going to have the home folders mounted from the server. So we're not going to have local accounts. We're just going to have users that are logging in on the client with their NIS account off the server. Okay, and their home folder, therefore, is going to be mounted from the server to the client, so we don't need a 3rd petition. So when you do the install, if you go back to last semester's instructions, you can certainly follow those instructions for completing the install. Just at the point that I have you expand one petition, I actually, if the instructions that I provided last semester are still out on the 133 website, on the homeworks page, I have you delete the 3rd petition and expand the 2nd petition a little bit, and then create a smaller 3rd petition because we need that 2nd petition larger for the operating system. So obviously, instead of delete the 3rd petition and then just expand the 2nd petition to the rest of the drive. Okay, you can follow those instructions. Please use the ext4 file system when you're formatting the drive. Okay, don't use the default. The default, I haven't played with that default file system, and your fstab file is going to look a little weird, like you guys ended up with in your machines last semester. Okay, so again, use the ext4 file system when you're formatting that drive. Both machines are going to be on a private network, so again, you guys are already familiar with that. So Ryan, you're 01 user. So again, if we go out here, and I'm just going to I'm not going to set it, I'm just going to show you. Again, if I go out to edit settings, and I go to network adapter here and browse, you'll see there are CIS 232 private folders. Scroll all the way down, find your 232 folder, and that's the folder, the SO1, whatever your student number is on that folder, that's your private network. So you are actually going to have your 2 computers that you build are going to be on a private network, and you can configure NIS and NFS within that private network. You will not have internet access because you don't have, and you're going to statically configure both machines. Okay, and I have provided within the instructions what information you need to statically configure them as, what settings and so on. I am going to cover DHCP today, but the review assignment, you're statically configuring those cards. Okay, and then when you cover DHCP, obviously, then you're going to have your client machine get its IP address from the DHCP server. When we do NAT, which now won't be for 2 weeks, you'll add a 2nd network adapter, and you'll add the NAT service to allow, it's actually called a masquerade service in Linux. You'll add that service so that your clients on the internal network will be able to get online. Same thing we did in the 231 class, right? Okay, just applying it to Linux. Okay, so primarily what I want to make sure you understand is that with no internet access, when you install applications, with the zipper command, by default, that is going to go off to the internet to find the application and install it. So until you configure NAT, you can't install from the internet. Okay, you're going to have to install from the CD. Okay, so ideally you would, I think I already have it connected here. Again, my server here, if I go into settings and I look at my CD drive, data store ISO, okay, these things should not be new to you. Okay, if I open it up and I click on it, you can see I already have it selected, but you can certainly browse out and make sure that you select the LEAP 42.2 ISO that exists out in the data store. So in essence, until we have internet, any installs that you do, we want to install from the CD. Okay, so the first step is connect the CD. If you don't have the CD connected, then obviously you're not going to be able to install from the CD. The second step, just to save a lot of errors, is to change something called the repositories. Okay, so on a Linux system, a software repository is simply a list of folders, or a list of locations, I should say, that the operating system is going to look when it's attempting to install something. Okay, so it looks in its repositories for whatever application you've indicated that you want to install. Okay, you can see a list of the repositories by typing zipper repos. And this is, I'm just going to change the font size real quick so that we can actually see it in a more readable format here. I'm going to change that to maybe. Okay, so that's better. Okay, I already have this configured that I have, this is the in-class, I already did it on the in-class. Don't usually do it in class ahead of time, but evidently I did. But I will show you enabling and then disabling so you can see. By default, these 4 are actually going to be enabled. And you can see over here they actually say download. And it's not clear, but this is actually the CD. And that's not enabled by default. Okay?
But it'd say just the opposite.
It would say yes. And let me go to one of my other machines. Maybe I actually did it to the in-class machine and didn't do it to the before-class machine.
And this is kind of like pointing it to where you can...
Yeah, if you leave, you have to enable the CD. That's not enabled by default. So you have to enable the CD. If you don't disable the online sites, you're just going to keep getting errors and errors and errors and errors. It's going to try its best to get the first one, and then it's going to try its best to get the second one. The CD is the 5th on the list. Okay, it'll eventually get there, but by then you're going to be pretty frustrated because you're going to have gotten 1,000 errors telling you that it can't find the website, and what do you want to do? So my recommendation is to disable, for now anyway, until after we have NAT. Once we have NAT, we can go back and change this. And once we have NAT configured, we can go back and enable it. So I'm just going to check this machine, and if it's not, then...
So you had it correctly on the one you just showed.
That's how it needs to be.
That's how.
Okay.
That's
but I'm going to go to my in-class 133 machine because I'm sure I didn't do it on those machines because there was no need to. So I'm going to come out to one of these machines. I didn't think I had done it on the in-class machine, but evidently I did. Okay, so again, if I do zipper repos, it's going to show you a list of the repos. Notice all of the yeses and the no, and all the nos. Okay. In essence, what we want to do is we want to say yes to this one and no to all of these. Okay. Somebody last semester asked me, well, how do you know that that 5th one is the CD? And I actually went, oh, gee, I don't know. I just knew. It's like, it's the name of the CD, and I guess but you can, and I'll show you in YAST where you can also do this in YAST. It's just way more steps in YAST. So I will show you in YAST. In YAST, you can very clearly see which ones are internet sites and which ones are CDs, okay, or which one is a CD. So what you can do is pay attention to the numbers over here on the left. So basically what we want to do is we want to disable 1, 2, 3, and 4 and enable number 5. Okay, so basically what I want to do is do zipper. MR stands for modify repo. Okay, -D indicates I want to disable. And then just list each of the numbers, so with a space in between, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is going to, in essence, disable the current repositories 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then I want to do the same thing, except the E is for enable. So I want to enable number 5. Okay, so again, now if I do a zipper repos, you can see that I have the no's and the yes. Okay, so again, zipper MR is modify, -D is disable, -E is enable, and then just list the numbers of the repositories that you want to affect. Okay, if you did this in YAST, so if I open YAST and I go to software repositories, okay, you can actually see a list of the repositories here. You can see, you could select it and then come down here and enable, select it and come down here and uncheck to disable. So you can certainly do it this way. The advantage to this is that you can actually see this is a CD. Okay, if you're not sure which one of these is a CD, some of them actually say download, but the other ones actually didn't say download. The repos,
Yeah, the other one says source.
the other one
Doesn't say
said,
that.
yeah, I don't remember if I just do zipper read. Okay, repo source non-OSS. Those don't confirm. They don't say download. Okay, but they are actually URLs. So if you come up here, you can actually see that they actually are URLs. So again, those are automatic. Those are already disabled, so you don't have to change those. But until we have internet access, to avoid having 100 error messages display every time you want to use the zipper command to install something, disable all the online repositories, enable the CD repository, make sure the CD is mounted or connected, and until we get NAT. When we go NAT, we can go back and flip them, okay, and disable the CD and enable the online resources. The online resources are going to be more current. So again, after we do the installs, you might find that, you know, it might tell you there's an update for that app because you installed it from the CD and there's updates since then. Okay? And that primarily is what I wanted to make sure you kind of did during the process of all this, is that when you install that, you know, you understand why you can't install anything. You don't have to leave yourself connected to the internet to do the installs. You can simply, you know, put yourself in lockdown mode, if you will, and then, you know, change the repositories. Okay? We good?
Yep.
Okay, so, no break. Oh my God, it's 11:30.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.